Let's talk about me getting assaulted at a Trump rally. So if I went to a Trump rally, what is the probability of me being assaulted or or being harassed by racists or having any kind of negative reception that is a product of my skin color? So recently there was a story about a guy, a black man that got assaulted at a Trump rally. So I want to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about my jerk chicken meal that I ordered jerk chicken and I literally got jerk chicken. Problem with that is that's normally a good thing, but the problem with that is normally when you order jerk chicken, you're ordering a meal, which is typically going to be jerk chicken, cabbage, and rice and peas. But I literally got jerk chicken. Just jerk chicken, nothing else. I never specify that I want other stuff. They normally would ask me, but I don't know. It's really tasty, but I would like some vegetables or something else to go with it, but whatever. Anyway, on to the topic at hand. So I'm not going to comment more about this guy that got assaulted. There's tons of people talking about it. There's videos you can look at. I'm going to more talk about it from the perspective of a quote unquote black man, how I feel about going to a Trump rally. So I've never been to a Trump rally. So let's put that out there. I've never been to a Trump rally. However, because I live in reality and because I'm not a partisan, I would predict that I would be very much welcomed if I went to a Trump rally. I think people would be really nice to me, really friendly to me. And it would be quite a contrast versus, the way you see typical MAGA, how they conduct themselves, the types of things that they say. If I went to a Trump rally, I expect that the reception would be much different from, what you would see portrayed in the media. And it's not even about media, just in general. I mean, if you see a MAGA person in the wild, being MAGA, not just MAGA, just because you're MAGA, there's something wrong with you. But I mean, you got to be in your MAGA mode. A MAGA person in MAGA mode would not lead you to believe that I might be comfortable at a Trump rally. But here's the reality. There are brown-skinned people out there who have gone and will go to Trump rallies and will be shocked or surprised or think that it's something that's noteworthy to mention to others that they were treated well at a Trump rally. But the reality is anyone who thinks this way is kind of clueless in terms of what's happening politically in this country, in terms of tribalism and all that kind of stuff. If I talk to leftists or a progressive person, they would tell me, it's unsafe. They would have an idea of, something might happen to me or whatever. I might run into some KKK person. But that's because partisans can have a very cartoonish view of reality. So right-wing partisans, MAGA people and others, left-wing partisans. So we've got to separate their cartoonish view of reality with reality. So what is the actual reality? And why would I expect to be, received very well in a Trump rally? There's been a lot of accusations of the right wing, MAGA, and others who were adjacent of racism, right? People have referred to Trump as a white supremacist. There's a lot of that's one of the big critiques. You might replace woke with racist, right? So anything I don't like is woke as a right wing simpleton. Anything I don't like is racist as a left wing simpleton. So what does that mean? What that means is the right wing, the Republican Party, and MAGA have a branding issue, especially considering that the Democrats have dominated the so-called black vote for a very long time. They still have a stronghold on it. And a lot of the elections are close. So if you can take some of those black voters, that could be all it is required for a Republican win. So someone like me would be a high valued asset. Me simply being at a Trump rally is very valuable. A Trump supporter who might be not necessarily racist, but racist adjacent, shall we say, and therefore has a little bit of self-consciousness in terms of a little bit of guilt. They might even go as far as to want to take a photo with me so they could show their friends that, hey, I'm not actually racist. Here I am, taking a photo with a brown-skinned person. So obviously I'm not racist. The classic, I have black friends, right? I think there's many people at a MAGA rally who never admit it, but have guilt for whatever reason. And it could be purely because of the accusations that are sent towards them. So not necessarily something based on reality, but just that people keep saying this thing, right? So based on that alone, just people making the accusations, let's assume the accusations are false. That would lead a lot of MAGA folks to want to disprove this. So to be seen with a brown-skinned person and to be friendly with them, that would be something that would be attractive to them in terms of making them feel better. It's almost like the billionaires, or not just billionaires, but wealthy people donating, right? You could be a very bad person who's done a lot of bad things, and then you feel guilty, you have a guilty conscience. And then when you do your little charity thing here and there, it kind of balances out to make you feel a little bit better about yourself. So there's that kind of effect. Then you also have people in MAGA who might be the more strategic thinkers, definitely in the Republican Party for sure, where they realize the value of people like myself, again, to shield them from the accusations, some very valid and others not so much. I've talked about Trump and the white nationalist stuff. I monitor white nationalist forums, and I've said it many times, they do not claim Donald Trump as one of them. In fact, they have problems, big problems with his association with Jews, and Jews are a big problem for them, even more so than people with my skin color. They really are focused on Jews. That's their really big problem. So therefore, Trump's Jewish connections is somewhat problematic, but they feel Trump is kind of a useful idiot. Nah, I wouldn't say idiot, but a useful tool, shall we say. Their numbers, multiplied exponentially under Trump, according to the white nationalists. Right? They claim that he was a really good thing for their movement. So they do like him and what he stands for and what he does, but they don't claim him as a white nationalist, right? But left-wing partisans would refer to Trump as a white nationalist, right? Without any direct evidence. The bottom line is, even if you go as far as talking about the white nationalist perspective, so let us step aside from MAGA and let's talk about white nationalists. I think white nationalists might be, surprisingly to left-wing partisans, much more nice and respected and respectful to me than they'd expect. Because again, they have a cartoonish view. It's kind of like a white nationalist is going to see me and just start calling me the N-word and, try to hang me or something, threaten to drag me behind his truck or whatever. Like that is the black and white oversimplistic view that they have of the world, not unlike the way the right wing sees the world, right? Partisans are just delusional. That's just the reality of it. But in a real world, a typical white nationalist I would expect to be actually respectful to me and not, have any intention of calling me the N-word or something like that. Their racism would manifest in not so cartoonish of a way. The way it would manifest is they wouldn't hire me. They'd be uncomfortable if I moved into their neighborhood. I'm sure they'd have a lot of nice things to say about me behind my back. They would be having a big problem if I tried to, say, date their daughters or something like that. They would definitely support or vote for people who might do things that would, hurt me and others like me, who look like me. But in terms of how they would interact with me, it's just not the cartoonish view that a left-wing partisan has. That's just not the way it works. Obviously, there's people who exist that are like that, and this is what will go viral, right? If I go into a neighborhood and someone calls me the N-word, and I got it on video, I posted up, there's a massive audience of people that will be like, oh, that racist guy or whatever, and then everyone's going to see that. So that's the kind of stuff that gets viral. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be in your face, right? But that doesn't represent the norm, right? So again, even, me going to an area where there's white nationalists, I mean, it depends on the context, right? I mean, but let's just say I wouldn't be surprised for a white nationalist to be respectful to me and, for me to be surprised to find out that that person is a white nationalist after me engaging with that person because I didn't have any clue at all, right? That's the real world. So again, anyone with brown skin who goes to a Trump rally and is surprised that they get treated nicely or thinks it's noteworthy, you've completely lost the plot and you really have no idea how American politics works, how partisanship works, how tribalism works, or you don't even understand the fundamentals of MAGA or the GOP. Because if you did, you would know they love people like me. Just wanted to add an additional point. The same thing goes for someone like Donald Trump. In spite of all the accusations of Trump being racist and whatever, again, many valid and also some not so valid. But regardless of that, the reality is I would expect Trump to be really nice to me behind the scenes. And not just me in general. I think behind the scenes, anyone in his circle who is sort of agreeing with him and sort of saying the same things that he's saying, I would expect Trump to actually be, in contrast to his public, like how he shows himself in public, to actually be kind of a friendly guy and making jokes and actually kind of charming, right? I know a lot of partisan left-wingers would be surprised at that, but I would not. But there are a lot of clueless people who would, be in his inner circle, observe this, and think it actually is meaningful and pointing out like, actually, all the stuff you're saying about Trump, and I've been on the phone with him and whatever, and he's the nicest guy and very respectful and this and helpful. He's been very helpful to me. It's kind of like the woman that's dating the guy who is known to be an abuser, and currently she's kind of going along with the program and the guy is getting everything he wants from her, right? She's agreeing with him. And so he's currently, taking her out to nice restaurants and buying her flowers and telling her how much he loves her and how beautiful she is. And people are talking about how bad of a person that this guy is. And she's looking at them and saying, I don't know what you're talking about. He's really nice to me. He's really sweet to me. He buys me flowers. He opens the door for me, right? So just completely dismissing all the accusations of how bad this guy is. That is someone in Trump's circle right now who is, again, going along with the program. And that is a brown-skinned person like myself going to a Trump rally. And even better than that, if I'm a celebrity, they would treat me like a god. If I was a celebrity and I was going out there saying, Trump is great or whatever, I would be so celebrated. I'd be invited to events, people cheering at me. Yeah, debate the channel. Yeah, he's a real patriot, right? They would welcome me with open arms as someone who, is in a celebrity status. Otherwise, not quite at that level, but otherwise, if I am a commentator and I'm doing a lot of content that is, pro-Trump and pro-right-wing and talking about anti-woke this and liberals this, liberals that, I'm sure I would get a lot of support from MAGA and right-wingers in general, certainly the Republican Party. So those are my thoughts, right? And again, whatever happened to that guy who got assaulted, I'm not commenting on it. I don't know the story, but I just thought it's interesting comments that I've heard throughout the years about people making a point of, oh, I went to a Trump rally and they were really nice to me. Of course they were. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.